There's a chilling moment when the mask falls away. The instant a bad person realizes you've seen through them. You're no longer fooled by their charm, their false kindness, their subtle games. You've caught the deception, and now they know it. From that point on, everything shifts. What was once hidden now turns calculated. You are no longer dealing with a harmless face, but with a mind in defense mode. And this is where many people falter, reacting with fear, anger, or confusion. But the wisdom of Stoic philosophy offers another path. Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, Seneca, they all encountered betrayal, manipulation, and deceit. And they learned how to stay calm, grounded, and unshaken. In this video, we'll explore 6 behaviors bad people unleash once they know you've uncovered their true nature, and how you can respond with strength, awareness, and inner peace. If you've ever sensed that unsettling shift in someone's behavior, this video will give you the clarity you need. Like, comment, share, and subscribe to bring more Stoic wisdom into your life. Now let's dive in. Number 1. They try to flip the narrative. When someone with manipulative tendencies realizes you've seen through them, they rarely retreat. In fact, they often become more determined. One of their first defensive moves is an attempt to rewrite reality itself. The moment they sense their false image is crumbling, they scramble to shift the story. Now, instead of you being the person who uncovered the truth, you're suddenly painted as irrational, overly emotional, or even dishonest. The goal is to cast doubt on you, on your perception, and on the truth you've recognized. It's not merely about denying what's happened. It's a calculated strategy designed to destabilize your confidence and manipulate how others perceive the situation. This is an effort to seize back control of the narrative, not only in your eyes, but in the eyes of anyone else watching. They aren't just trying to gaslight you. They are trying to destroy your credibility before your version of reality gains any momentum. Why is this tactic so effective? Because it preys on the very qualities that make you a good person: your fairness, your empathy, your reluctance to cause conflict or pass harsh judgment. Most decent people hesitate to accuse others, even when their instincts tell them something is wrong. Manipulators know this and use it. They weaponize your doubt and compassion, hoping you'll second-guess what you've seen so clearly. This is where Stoic philosophy offers an invaluable path forward. The Stoics did not advocate for fighting battles of ego or getting entangled in endless arguments. Marcus Aurelius, for example, believed in living with such integrity and clarity that falsehoods would collapse under their own weight. He wrote, "If someone can prove me wrong, I will gladly change. But if not, I will continue on my path." This is not passivity, it is wisdom. You don't need to waste your energy proving the truth to those committed to distorting it. Instead, let the manipulators spin their tale. Let them twist and turn the narrative. You don't have to compete with lies. You can simply stand in your truth with calm consistency. This isn't surrender, it's strength. Because when you no longer feed the manipulator with reactions, you deprive them of their greatest tool, your emotional response. Of course, it's painful to be misunderstood or unfairly accused. It's frustrating when others can't see what you see. But as Stoicism teaches us, pain is not always a sign that something is wrong. It's often a sign that something matters. And what matters is protecting your peace and staying true to your values. Remember this: you are not responsible for controlling the stories others tell. You are responsible for living your own story with integrity. Let them label you dramatic or paranoid. In the long run, those who truly know your character will see the truth. and those who never intended to their opinion was never yours to carry. But this is just the opening move. When flipping the narrative fails or begins to lose its power, manipulators often switch tactics. One of the next methods they use is far more subtle, pretending the entire situation never occurred. And that, too, is another form of manipulation we'll explore next. Number 2, they pretend nothing happened. Once a manipulator realizes you've seen through their act, not all of them respond with open hostility. In fact, some choose an even more deceptive path. They adopt an unsettling calm, stepping back not in defeat, but in calculated pretense. Without acknowledging what occurred, without taking any responsibility, they reappear perhaps with a friendly message, a casual, "How have you been?" a harmless comment on your social media. The goal is not reconciliation. It's to blur the truth. This tactic is not simple awkwardness, nor is it harmless forgetfulness. It's a deliberate test. They are gauging your reaction, watching to see if you will go along with this unspoken rewrite of reality. Will you smile and chat as if nothing happened? Will you lower your guard? If you do, they win. Not because they've changed, but because you've been led to question your own perception. Why is this method so dangerous? Because it exploits your strengths, your empathy, your desire for fairness, your natural instinct to avoid conflict. Most good-hearted individuals are uncomfortable holding grudges. They seek resolution, not perpetual tension. Manipulators count on this. They know many people would rather pretend everything is fine than confront an uncomfortable truth. This is exactly where Stoic wisdom becomes so vital. The Stoics did not teach us to respond with rage or to waste energy proving ourselves. They taught us to live with integrity, to walk in truth, without being trapped in the games of others. Marcus Aurelius reminded us that our duty is not to argue with liars, but to live in such a way that their lies have no power. As he wrote, "If someone can show me my error, I will gladly change. But if not, I will continue on my path." When someone who's harmed you returns with superficial friendliness, but no real accountability, you are not obligated to resume the old dynamic. You don't have to slam the door, but neither must you swing it wide open. Wisdom lies in patience and observation. Let their actions, not their carefully chosen words, reveal their true intentions. Emotional distance here is not cruelty. It is discernment. You can forgive without forgetting. You can release resentment without pretending harm never occurred. Stoicism teaches that true peace is not built on social performance, but on inner clarity. You owe no one blind trust. You owe yourself the protection of your sanity. This phase of manipulation, pretending nothing happened, is often more unsettling than open conflict. It plays on your empathy, tempting you to override your intuition in pursuit of superficial harmony. But remember, harmony built on denial is not peace. It's a fragile performance. And when you refuse to participate, when your calm boundaries remain firm, that is often when manipulators escalate. If their charm and pretense fail, they frequently shift to more covert attacks, seeking to damage your reputation in places they think you won't hear. In the next section, we'll explore exactly what happens when exposure breeds hidden hostility. Stay tuned. Number 3. They try to undermine you behind closed doors. When a toxic individual realizes you've pierced through their facade, it unsettles them to the core. Their influence depended on your uncertainty, your hesitation, your silence. Now that power is broken, and in its place, fear takes hold. Fear of being unmasked, fear of losing control, fear of becoming irrelevant. And from that fear often springs a more covert form of attack sabotage. But it's rarely an outright confrontation. They prefer a quieter, more insidious approach, one that operates in the spaces you can't always see. This is when the behind-the-scenes campaign begins. They don't accuse you openly. Instead, they plant seeds of doubt in the minds of those around you. Subtle shifts in the way they speak about you. Distorted versions of your actions or words. Feigned concern disguised as gossip. You'll hear phrases like, "I'm just a little worried about them lately," or "Have you noticed how different they've been acting?" These remarks sound innocent on the surface, but the true intent is to erode your credibility while preserving their image as caring and concerned. What makes this tactic especially harmful is its hidden nature. By the time you become aware of it, the damage may already be rippling through your relationships. People may begin looking at you differently, questioning your motives, unsure of what to believe. The natural impulse, of course, is to defend yourself, to set the record straight, to fight fire with fire. But here lies the trap. By reacting impulsively, you're now playing on their field under their rules. And this gives them exactly what they want, proof they can twist to further their narrative. This is where Stoic philosophy offers a path of true strength. Seneca taught that a wise mind does not rise to every insult or attempt to defend every slight, not because it is weak, but because it refuses to be manipulated. You cannot win a battle of words against someone determined to misrepresent you. What you can control is your conduct, your steady alignment with truth and virtue. Live with such clarity and consistency that over time, falsehoods collapse under their own weight. Let your daily actions speak louder than any whispered rumor. When others see that your life does not match the distortions being spread, the truth becomes self-evident. This does not mean silence born of fear. It means responding with care and precision only when truly needed, not out of anger, but out of integrity. The Stoics understood that while we cannot fully control our reputation, we can always control our character. That is where your power lies. Let your integrity be the foundation others witness. Let time and truth do what reactive words cannot. It is painful to lose connections because of whispered lies. Some people will be too quick to judge, too ready to believe convenient falsehoods. But what remains, your peace of mind, your inner strength, your ability to face yourself without shame, is worth infinitely more than temporary approval. Do not waste your energy trying to chase down every rumor. Focus on living the truth you know, and be prepared, because if their quiet sabotage fails to bring you back under control, many manipulators shift again. They may try a new strategy, not attack, but allure. They'll present a carefully crafted image of transformation, more kind, more understanding, more self-aware. But is it genuine change, or another trap? That's exactly what we'll explore next. Number 4, they suddenly change to win you back. When more obvious tactics fail, when lies collapse, charm loses its grip, and behind-the-scenes sabotage falls flat, a manipulator often turns to a subtler, more seductive weapon, the illusion of personal growth. They no longer argue. They stop denying. Instead, they adopt a new mask, one of transformation. Suddenly, they present themselves as more thoughtful, more emotionally aware. Their tone softens. They begin to say all the right things. You may hear apologies where before there was only deflection. You may see gestures of unexpected kindness, or hear phrases like, "I've done a lot of reflecting," or "I really want to be better." It can feel disarming, even hopeful, especially if some part of you once wished they were capable of real change. And that is exactly the point. This tactic works because it targets your hope, your longing to believe that people can grow and relationships can heal. When you see someone behaving in ways you once wished for, it's natural to want to give them the benefit of the doubt. You may feel tempted to believe that this version of them, the one now attentive and considerate, might finally be real. But here is where discernment must take precedence over hope. True change in a person is not about surface-level gestures or a shift in tone. Manipulative people do not grow through self-reflection. They adapt through recalibration. If guilt no longer works on you, they'll pivot to charm. If charm fails, they'll experiment with displays of remorse. The aim is not healing or accountability. The aim is regaining proximity and influence. This is where Stoic wisdom offers clarity and strength. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The best revenge is to be unlike your enemy." In this context, that means you do not let yourself be swayed by emotional bait or temporary performances. The Stoic does not rush to trust simply because someone sounds different or appears changed. They remain observant, anchored in reason, watching patterns, not isolated moments. Real growth is not loud or performative. It does not demand immediate forgiveness or trust. It reveals itself steadily through humility, consistency, and a genuine willingness to respect boundaries without expectation of immediate reward. And even when authentic change does occur, you are under no obligation to rebuild a relationship that was once broken. Forgiveness can be given, but trust must be earned. And sometimes the wisest choice is to move forward without reopening old doors. I once witnessed a friend fall into this very trap. After months of manipulation and emotional harm, she finally created distance from a toxic partner. But not long after that person reappeared, suddenly supportive, expressing admiration for her strength, claiming to have sought therapy, and even echoing phrases she had used in past arguments. For a time, it felt genuine. She allowed them back in cautiously at first. But soon, the old patterns returned. Subtle criticisms, small boundary violations, manipulative behaviors disguised beneath politeness. The supposed transformation had been a carefully crafted performance designed to regain her emotional openness. This is why the illusion of change can be so dangerous. It is not obvious nor aggressive. It is calculated. It offers just enough warmth to make you lower your defenses. Once that happens, the manipulative cycle resets. The Stoic response: honor your instincts, but temper them with reason. You can remain courteous, even kind, but keep your emotional boundaries strong until time has revealed whether the change is authentic. Consistency, not charisma, is the measure. And remember, even if change is real, you are never obligated to rebuild what was once torn apart. Forgiveness is freedom, not an invitation to resume a damaged dynamic. Yet when this tactic, this feigned transformation fails, manipulators often turn to an even more subtle maneuver. They begin to test your boundaries, not by blatantly crossing them, but by gently pushing inch by inch. In the next section, we'll explore how this form of gradual pressure operates and how the Stoic mind recognizes and resists it long before it reaches a breaking point. Number 5. They push your boundaries subtly. When a manipulative person realizes they no longer hold sway over you, they seldom give up quietly. Rarely will they make a bold attempt to force their way back into your life. Instead, they adopt a quieter, more insidious strategy. They begin to test your boundaries, but so subtly that at first, it may not even register as manipulation. It starts small. A casual message that says "thinking of you," or a seemingly innocent comment on one of your social posts. On the surface, these gestures may appear harmless, but beneath that appearance, they serve one clear purpose: to gauge the strength of your boundaries. Think of it as them tapping gently on a wall, looking for cracks. They want to see whether the distance you've created is firm, or if it's simply a temporary reaction they can erode. If you respond, they take it as an invitation. If you explain why you've stepped back, they interpret that as an opening for negotiation. And if you ignore them, often they'll increase the pressure, just a little testing again and again, until they either encounter true resistance or slip back into your life unnoticed. It's at this stage that many people unknowingly get drawn back into cycles they thought they had left behind. Not because the manipulator did something overtly malicious, but because the pressure is so subtle, so familiar. Sometimes replying seems easier than staying silent. Being polite feels safer than being firm. But this is the very dynamic a manipulator counts on: your kindness, your empathy, your reluctance to seem cold or unforgiving. Stoic philosophy offers powerful guidance here. Boundaries from the Stoic perspective are not about declarations or dramatic statements. They are lived embodied through discipline and unwavering action. Epictetus taught that while we cannot control the actions of others, we have full command over our own responses. You may not stop someone from testing your boundaries, but you can refuse to participate in their game. Sometimes the strongest boundary is simple silence, not as an act of cruelty, but as an act of self-respect. I once witnessed this firsthand through a woman named Elena. After months of enduring subtle manipulation and emotional games from someone she cared about, she finally stepped away calmly, without bitterness. She made her intentions clear: no further contact. At first, there was no pushback. The manipulator waited. Weeks later came the first message, short, vague, deliberately non-confrontational. "Hope you're doing well." Then, a shared memory surfaced in a group chat. A mutual friend casually mentioned he asked about you, said he misses your energy. None of it was direct. None of it seemed harmful. But each moment was an attempt to test the boundary, to provoke a response, to pull her back in. And Elena felt the temptation, not because she doubted her decision, but because she didn't want to appear unkind. And that is precisely what this form of manipulation exploits. Not your weakness, but your strength, your empathy, your fairness. The Stoic path teaches that holding to your truth is not an act of cruelty. It is an act of clarity. You owe no explanation to someone who has already disregarded your well-being. You do not have to respond to every carefully crafted prompt designed to bait you back into dysfunction. Protecting your peace is not rude, it is wise. And the power of consistent, quiet boundaries speaks louder than any argument ever could. Over time, it sends a message stronger than words: I am no longer available for these games. Of course, not all manipulators accept this gracefully. When their subtle pressure fails, when they see that you will not bend under charm guilt or false friendliness, they often escalate. If they can't regain control over your perspective, they'll try something else, controlling how others see you. That's where we'll go next. In the following section, we'll explore how manipulators use isolation and defamation to damage your reputation when they can no longer influence you directly, and how Stoicism gives you the inner strength to rise above both. Number 6. They isolate or discredit you to others. When all direct efforts to manipulate you have failed, when charm guilt, sabotage, and subtle boundary pushing no longer work, Many manipulators turn to one final, deeply damaging tactic. They seek to isolate you socially. If they can't influence you anymore, they'll try to influence how others perceive you. This often unfolds quietly, not through open attack, but through steady erosion. The manipulator moves behind the scenes, seeding doubt among the people in your life. They may paint you as unstable, difficult, or distant. They'll position themselves as the reasonable one, claiming concern or a desire for peace. The language is often couched in worry. "I'm just concerned about them," or "they haven't been themselves lately." It sounds harmless, even compassionate, but it's a calculated move designed to shift the narrative. What makes this tactic especially painful is its subtlety. You may begin to notice small changes, people growing distant, invitations no longer arriving, professional or personal opportunities slipping away. At first, it may seem like coincidence, but soon, the pattern becomes clear. You are being slowly pushed to the margins. And this isolation is designed to weaken you, to make you doubt yourself, to feel alone, and eventually, to pressure you into retreating or returning to the manipulator's control. It is a form of psychological warfare wrapped in false concern. And when you recognize it, your first instinct may be to fight back, to correct the lies, to defend your name, to rally others to your side. But this is where the wisdom of Stoicism becomes invaluable. Marcus Aurelius wrote that the greatest task in life is to live truthfully and with integrity, and to show patience with those who do not. This is not passivity. It is profound inner strength. A Stoic understands that genuine reputation, one built on consistent character, does not require constant defense. Time, not argument, reveals the truth. Running from rumor to rumor, trying to correct every falsehood, only drains your energy and plays into the manipulator's game. The Stoic way is to stand firm in who you are, to continue living in alignment with your values, allowing your actions to speak more powerfully than any smear campaign ever could. And here is the deeper truth: those who matter, those with discernment and integrity, will see through the false narratives in time. Those who do not were never reliable allies to begin with. You do not need to control what others think. You only need to remain anchored in your own truth. This path is not easy. The experience of social isolation, of being misunderstood or unfairly judged, can be deeply painful. But in that pain lies an opportunity for liberation. You begin to see that your peace does not have to depend on managing other people's perceptions. It comes from living with unwavering integrity, a space no manipulator can reach. The Stoic does not seek revenge, nor do they lower themselves to counterattacks. They embody alignment, consistency, and clarity. In the end, anything built upon lies collapses of its own weight. Your steady presence, your refusal to waver, becomes the strongest rebuttal possible. And when the manipulator's efforts eventually fade, when their games lose power, when their audience dwindles, what remains is something priceless: true freedom. A peace that does not require validation, permission, or performance. A life lived openly, without the burden of falsehood. If you have ever faced this kind of battle, if you have felt isolated or discredited, know this: you are not alone, and you are far from powerless. The wisdom of Stoic philosophy has endured through the centuries because it offers timeless strength. This is not just ancient theory. It is survival. And it still works. When someone with bad intentions realizes you've seen through their act, that's when the real games begin. But remember this: you're not here to play along. You're here to rise above it. The moment you stopped falling for their tricks was the moment you reclaimed your strength. True power doesn't shout or chase it, stands firm, silent, unshaken. The Stoics understood this well. In a world crowded with falsehood and manipulation, clarity is rebellion, peace is your armor, and integrity is your answer. If you face this, if someone's mask slipped, the moment they saw you weren't buying it, share your story below. You're not alone. Every time we speak the truth, we move closer to freedom. If this message resonated with you, don't keep it to yourself. Like the video, subscribe, and share it with someone fighting their own battle against false people. They're not losing their mind. They're finally waking up. The more we respond with wisdom instead of anger, the stronger we grow. Stay sharp, stay steady, stay unbreakable. See you in the next one.